Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today, once again, we are talking trades. And yes, we are talking trades at the wide receiver position. Today, I'm going to be talking about Cooper Kupp, Mike Williams, and a couple of other wide receiver trade targets that we have not talked about here on Steelers Talk in a video before. So make sure you guys stay tuned for two wide receiver targets that we haven't talked about on this show before. Now, before we get into the trade rumors and the latest surrounding Cooper Kupp, Mike Williams, and the Steelers wide receiver position, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now, because whenever the con artist strikes, and I think that he will end up trading for a wide receiver at some point before the NFL trade deadline, now less than 2 weeks away, we're going to be going live and we're going to be breaking down everything that you guys need to know about that particular receiver and how they fit into the Steelers offense. So do me a favor right now and click that subscribe button. So let's start here with Cooper Kupp, who is the talk of Steelers Nation right now, and he is expected to play this week, coming off that ankle injury that he suffered in week 2 this season, and he's going to be playing on Thursday Night Football tomorrow night against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, listen, man, when it comes to Cooper Kupp, the longer that we wait for him to get traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is kind of why I was hoping the Steelers were going to pull the trigger on a trade for him today, is that, the Steelers, after today, if they trade for him, he's probably not going to be able to play on Monday Night Football, okay, because he is probably going to be playing tomorrow night against the Minnesota Vikings, and once he plays that week 8 game for them, he cannot play for the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football for the black and gold. So for the Steelers, it makes more sense to wait till next week to trade for him if they do not trade for him later tonight or even tomorrow morning. So once he plays that game tomorrow night, Steelers cannot trade for him until next week after Monday Night Football. And listen, man, hopefully Kupp doesn't get hurt, right? That would be like the worst case scenario, right? He goes out there and he hurts his ankle again, or it's another issue, and then the Steelers can't trade for him when they could have traded for him today, for example, and he would have been healthy for Monday Night Football. That would be kind of the nightmarish scenario here if you're a Steelers fan and you want Cooper Kupp. And I definitely think this might be an opportunity for Kupp to prove his health to the rest of the NFL. I think the Rams want Kupp to play, because if he plays well, that might drive up his trade value a little bit here. And he is coming back from that ankle sprain, and I definitely think that the Rams are playing him this week and haven't traded him to the Pittsburgh Steelers just yet, or any other team for that matter, because they feel like he can have a really good performance against the Vikings tomorrow, and hopefully that will drive up the trade price for when they eventually let him go. Also, what happens if the Los Angeles Rams pull off the upset against the red-hot Minnesota Vikings? Like, if they go out there and they win this football game, they're sitting at 3-4, and they are definitely still in the thick of the NFC playoff race, especially in that division where the San Francisco 49ers have a losing record. The Seattle Seahawks have definitely had some issues this year as well. If the Rams win this football game and win it against one of the better teams in the conference, in the Minnesota Vikings, they may feel like, man, we can make a run here with Matthew Stafford still, and maybe we don't want to trade Cooper Kupp. So listen, man, go Vikings. We want the Vikings to win tomorrow. We want Cooper to have a pretty decent game to prove that he's healthy, but I do think that a Viking victory tomorrow night would all but assure that the Rams will probably shop Cooper Kupp elsewhere before the trade deadline this year. Now, let me know down there in the comment section, what is the percent chance that Cooper Kupp ends up becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comment section. 0 meaning no chance he becomes a Steeler, to 100% means he's definitely going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So for me personally, guys, when it comes to the Steelers adding a receiver here before the trade deadline, I want to go get Cooper Kupp. I want to take that swing and get this guy, because I think his versatility, being able to line up outside, in the slot, and even in the backfield, the route running to be a really nice option on third downs, a reliable safety blanket for Russell Wilson to use on the outside and in the slot, I think would be very, very valuable. Also, he's one of the best run blocking wide receivers in the game today. Plus, he's got super reliable hands. And I've heard around, Steelers Twitter and even on YouTube here from some people saying he's not a deep threat, so that he doesn't fit with the Steelers offense somehow. Cooper Kupp can still get open down the field. Don't make any mistake there. But Jack, he's just a slot receiver. No, he's not. He can play outside. He can play in the slot. He can even play in the backfield. So to just say that Cooper Kupp's a slot wide receiver, therefore he doesn't fit with what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for, I think is completely silly and ridiculous. But Jack, he gets injured too much. And, I understand understand why some people say this. He has had multiple ankle injuries and ankle sprains over the last 3 seasons, and you are acquiring that kind of risk if you do end up trading for Cooper Kupp. But at the end of the day here, I do think you have to take a swing if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you definitely have to take on some risks if you're going to take a swing like this. But Jack, he's not a deep threat, and I've heard this on Steelers Twitter quite a bit here over the last 24 hours, and it's just not true. If you look at his film, Cooper Kupp can certainly get open down the field, and he does have very reliable hands, and he can be a pretty reliable 50-50 ball winner down the field as well. So he's really the entire package. We broke down his entire game on yesterday's Steelers Talk video. So after today's video, if you want to check that out to get the full scouting report I have on him, you guys can check that out. But like I said, guys, you got to take a swing if you want to win titles in the National Football League, especially if you have a glaring need at the wide receiver position like the Steelers have right now. And if you can add a guy like Cooper Kupp and add him to a receiving room that already has George Pickens and then Calvin Austin, who is a really good slot guy, has been getting open all season long, I think GP, Cooper Kupp, and CA3 could be a really fearsome trio for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you still haven't talked about Pat Freiermuth and then 2 very reliable receiving backs in Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren as well. So if they can add Cooper Kupp, I think that could be a game-changing move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that it's definitely something that Omar Khan should be very aggressive to try to get done as soon as possible. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to tell you why I think that the Steelers actually may end up trading for Mike Williams instead of Cooper Kupp. Now, I'm definitely hoping they end up getting Kupp. I just talked about my reasons why, but I definitely think it's in play for the Steelers to still trade for Mike Williams. I'm going to explain the reasons why I believe that's the case here in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Turtle Beach. Today's Steelers Talk episode is brought to you by Turtle Beach, the #1 brand in gaming headsets and accessories. The new Gen 3 Stealth 600 headset picks up so much crystal clear sound, it's basically cheating. Their headsets are so freaking comfortable, you'll feel like you're wearing a marshmallow cloud pillow on your head. And the best thing of all is that Turtle Beach have Stealth 600 models for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, including cross-compatibility and Bluetooth. So one headset for all of your systems. Whether you're a casual gamer or you haven't touched grass in weeks, Turtle Beach has the right headset for you. For a limited time only, our listeners get 10% off their entire order when you use code CHAT at turtlebeach.com. That's 10% off your entire order at turtlebeach.com with promo code CHAT. Let me tell you guys, I am somebody that absolutely loves to play CFB 25, Madden 25 with my friends here at Chat Sports. We have our own online dynasty, and we love to talk crap to each other all the time when we are playing our games. With these Turtle Beach headsets, man, it's so easy to get on and off, and also it's super crystal clear sound as well, so you can hear the people you're talking to as well as the game that you're playing with super clear precision. Get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, head to turtlebeach.com and use code CHAT for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code CHAT. So let's talk about Mike Williams here for a little bit here, man, because I do think it's still very possible that he ends up becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler for the bevy of reasons we've discussed on the show over the last week. The Steelers were very interested in him and signing him in free agency this year. The price tag isn't too much. It's like the vet minimum if they trade for him in terms of the salary cap hit. And then also it's probably only going to cost like a 7th round pick to acquire him. So I do think that the Steelers are still very interested in him. And I still think that his role in this offense would be very, very defined. Now, I think that when it comes to Cooper Kupp, I think that Omar Khan is going to have his price, right? Just like they did in the Brandon Ayuk situation. Like, he's going to go to the Rams and say, this is what we're willing to pay for Cooper Kupp. You can either take it or you can leave it. There's not going to be much negotiating on the part of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Omar Khan. And honestly, man, if a team like the Buccaneers comes in that just lost Chris Godwin for the season and they offer something better for Cooper Kupp, I could certainly see Tampa Bay swooping in and getting Kupp instead of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It certainly seems like Pittsburgh's trying to get Kupp at a discount here, which I think is a terrible strategy. I think they should go out and get the deal done now and pay what it takes to get him because you don't want to lose him. But I do think that Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, and the Pittsburgh Steelers like what Mike Williams brings to the table as a deep threat, as a 50-50 ball winner. And honestly, man, it's not going to cost you all that much. It's going to cost you about a 7th round pick, maybe a conditional 6th. And, you know, for somebody that this team was absolutely had a vision for and tried to bring in free agency is kind of that downfield threat get some attention off of George Pickens in the deep passing game. Russell Wilson, of course, throws those beautiful deep balls with a great touch. Mike Williams' skill set as a 50-50 ball winner can certainly fit with that skill set with Russell Wilson, what the Steelers want to do as a vertical passing attack here. But I really think that Mike's skill set would be fine. I would rather get Cooper Kupp because I think he brings more to the table. I think he's a better run blocker. I think he's a much better route runner, and he's got a lot more versatility than Mike Williams. If you bring in Mike, he's pretty much just strictly an outside receiver, whereas Cooper Kupp can play outside, he can play inside, he can play in the backfield. He's got that versatility. And overall, I think that he's a little bit more fresh. I think he can play another 3-4 years of really good football in this league, whereas I'm not sure with Mike's injury history how much he's going to hold up in the future if he's traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Plus, having Cooper Kupp for the next 3 years as opposed to just this season for Mike Williams is something of value that I think makes Cooper Kupp the more attractive option for me. So let me know down there in the comments section and pick one. Cooper Kupp for a conditional 3rd round pick, or would you rather have Mike Williams for a 7th round pick? Type CK if you'd rather have Cooper Kupp for a conditional 3rd, or type MW if you'd rather have Mike Williams for a 7th. Now, before I go here, I want to talk about 2 wide receiver trade targets. Haven't talked about on the show here before. And the first one is Jakobi Meyers, okay? And I'm not sure if the Raiders are going to be willing to deal him, especially after getting rid of Devontae Adams, but it definitely seems like the Raiders are on their way to a full-scale rebuild. Meyers is a veteran. I'm not sure if they really see him as a long-term building block. He's got 2 years left on his contract, including this year, but he is a big, physical, reliable hands type receiver that can get open. He's a crafty route runner. I think he'd be a good fit here in Pittsburgh because he is a physical run blocker. He catches everything. He does get open and kind of those 3rd down situations. Like I said, he's a crafty route runner. So he's definitely somebody to keep your eye on. And then probably in a future Steelers Talk video, we'll break his game down a little bit more in depth. Then another trade target that I'm going to be keeping my eye on as well is Kendrick Bourne. Now, Bourne is a little bit kind of on a lower tier compared to guys like Cooper Kupp or Jakobi Meyers, in my opinion. I think that, Bourne would just be fine. He'd be more like in the Mike Williams category, but he's a good run blocker. He's been in a lot of offenses like the San Francisco 49ers, for example, that really prioritize the run game. He's a very reliable hands receiver, gets open, not the best athlete in the world, so the ceiling is definitely capped with a guy like Kendrick Bourne. But if you can't get Cooper Kupp, if somehow Mike Williams goes somewhere else, right? If all your options are exhausted and you have to go out and get a reliable veteran receiver before the deadline, Kendrick Bourne is another option that you can probably consider. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, what is your confidence level in the con artist, Omar Khan, to get the right receiver here to Pittsburgh before the NFL trade deadline? Put it on a scale of 1 to 10 for me down there in the comment section. For me, I'm still sitting at around an 8. I know that Omar hasn't done the best job at addressing this wide receiver position since unloading Deontay Johnson, but right now there's certainly opportunities out there for the Steelers to land a good receiver that fits with what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do. So right now I still have a confidence level of 8 that Omar is going to get this done. Now, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for making it to the end of today's edition of Steelers Talk. Tomorrow, it's Steelers Talk Live starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going 30 minutes earlier than normal because Coop has a NBA watch party to do tomorrow night. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button and join us 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow for Steelers Talk Live.